This is your friendly neighborhood coach, and this is the next episode of The Locker Room. Listen, y'all, we got a lot going on today. Man, I am so excited about what's about to happen. Come on. Listen, today we're going to talk about the new head coach, Todd Monken. All right. The Browns hired a coach. It was a crap show as they did it, but they did it. We're going to talk about Jim Schwartz being mad. I mean, Jim Schwartz was mad. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to get into our draft. I got two more. Remember, I said it's going to always be an offensive lineman and a wide receiver because those are the needs that the Browns have to address during the draft. All right. And Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler. So all of y'all Shedeur haters need to shut up because Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler. Then we're going to get into the AFC NFC Championship game. We're going to talk a little bit about that as that took place and the Super Bowl that is going to come up. We got the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And Bill Belichick, not a Hall of Famer? Really? Let's talk about it. Then we have the Cavs. We're going to talk about the win versus the Lakers. LeBron came home. We'll talk a little bit about that. Is Lonzo Ball and DeAndre Hunter on the trading block? Then I want to address some comments that Jalen Tyson made regarding LeBron James. And a lot of the backlash that he got for it. Was it warranted? We'll find out. Are the Cavs back? They've been on a little winning streak. We're going to talk about that. And then finally, my coach's rant. So I got this from my man L Train, 3 the Hard Way. Shout out to him and Terrence Austin, the captain. Here's the thing. We're going to talk about that in my rant. LeBron coming home. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? I got my take on that. So let's get ourselves prepared for the locker room. The locker room is sponsored today by the Let's Talk About It podcast. Listen, y'all, I don't just do sports. We do the Let's Talk About It podcast. The Let's Talk About It podcast is on YouTube. It's on Instagram. It's on all social medias. And what we do is I just talk to very interesting people about subjects that everybody deals with. Okay. And so we just have a good time talking about that. Helping people get out of certain situations. We talk about situations that they've been in and how they've overcome it. So if you have not subscribed to Let's Talk About It, go to YouTube and look up Let's Talk About It. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and come on in and join me. All right. So today's episode is sponsored by The Locker Room. Not The Locker Room, but the Let's Talk About It. Oh, stop. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's go ahead and let's get into it. We're going to get into this right now. So, Todd Monken. Todd Monken is the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He was the offensive coordinator in Baltimore. People thought that he was going to leave with Harbaugh. But he did not do that. He threw himself into the hat, and he is now the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. There were other candidates that could have been chosen. Like I said, it was a crap show the way that the Browns handled this. But I'm going to give Todd Monken an absolute chance because it's better than what Kevin Stefanski did over the last 6 years. Todd Monken was here as an offensive coordinator many years back. All right. And definitely I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because Todd Monken he's a football guy. Okay. My man L Train showing up here in the house. What's up, L Train? He said, Hot Rod, are you happy with the Todd Monken decision? I am. I mean, I have to be because there's no other candidates. I'm going to give him an absolute opportunity. He is an offensive mind. You know, he was, he won some national championships at the University of Georgia. He has been around the block. He is a football guy. And because he is a football guy, and that's what we need is a football guy in the room, I don't have a problem with it. I know the two young coordinators were, the shiny diamonds in the room, but I believe that they did not accept the job because they were forcing Jim Schwartz on them. And I said this on Three the Hard Way. I've said this on my show, is that any self-respecting coach wants to build their own staff. And if you're coming into a situation where they're telling you, no, you're going to take this guy, no real coach is going to want that. Okay. Now, do I believe that Todd Monken was given that opportunity the same as all others? I do. I believe that. Okay. I truly believe that. I believe Todd Monken knew that he possibly was getting Jim Schwartz. I also believe that he knew it was his last time in becoming a head coach. So he took the job. Because let's be honest. Let's be honest, locker room fans. The Cleveland Browns are not the most attractive job in the NFL. I mean, seriously, nobody's beating down Andrew Berry's door to become a coach in Cleveland. So I think this was Todd Monken's last shot. So that's why he put his name in the hat, but he also had coals on the burner, on the back burner, whereas in New York, he would have went with Harbaugh. If he would have got the job in Cleveland, he would have went with Harbaugh to the Giants and became the OC there. But he threw his hat in there. And I do truly believe that he wants to be the head coach. Now, here's something, and I want to give this to you, and I give you all other aspects of this. This is Ken Carman of 92.3 The Fan, and his thought process on Todd Monken. Okay.
Well, they're going to be organized. They're going to have their ducks in a row. I know he knows what he's doing. I know it didn't end well in Baltimore, but again, it didn't end well for John. It didn't end well for Gus, for Greg Roman. It usually doesn't end well. That's why they think they end. He did a good job at Georgia. He's been a good offensive coordinator. He's organized. He knows what he's doing. I keep using the term organized because I just remember when he was here in 2019, he was appalled at the disorganization of everything. Like, it put him in a bad mood every day. And I'm just like, yeah, they'll have their ducks in a row. They're just not a great roster. So I don't think we're going to lose a lot. Like, you always have a stupid thing that happens. It's a human element. And you may have a stupid thing that happens where you lose a game or two. It happens. I don't think you're going to lose games based on ineptitude and stupidity and silly decisions. Like, I just don't know how many times we're going to come in here bitching about timeouts and fourth quarter. I don't know if we're going to have a lot of pre-snap penalties and illegal motions and things like that of what we've had. I think that they will be more buttoned up. And then it's just like, hey, you probably don't have the horses. No pun intended, I understand. But you probably don't have the horses, and you're probably not going to win a whole lot of football games this coming football.
So that's Ken Carman. Shout out to 92.3 The Fan. Him talking about Todd Monken. Him understanding that Todd Monken understands the situation that he is coming in because of the dysfunctional organization that the Browns are right now. He understands, and he's going to bring a level of stability, prayerfully, hopefully, to the Cleveland Browns. Okay. And here another comment by my man L Train up in here. He says the video of him meeting Sanders Shedeur was really refreshing in his opinion. Oh, contraire, mon frere, I got that for you. So here is that said meeting between Shedeur Sanders and Todd Monken. All right, let me get to that.
Well, going in at. Oh, yeah.
Hey, oh, young man. Welcome back to the States.
How we doing, man?
Good.
Yeah, we tried to draft your ass last year. It's all worked out.
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to tell you.
Someday we'll get a chance to talk about that.
Yeah.
So hopefully that came through. But what it was it was the meeting between Todd Monken and Shedeur Sanders. And so very cunning PR stuff by the Cleveland Browns. Shout out to the Cleveland Browns for doing that. We never saw Kevin Stefanski, have a conversation with Shedeur. We're not saying that it didn't happen. It's just something refreshing to see. Doesn't mean that Shedeur's QB1. Could be. I know a lot of Shedeur haters out here are having a problem with it. That he is that Monken met him like that and had a conversation with him like that. We got Deshaun Watson. He's sailing overseas with his wife. We don't know where Dylan Gabriel is. I know everybody's talking about, is Monken gonna come in and restructure the whole quarterback room? I think he's gonna leave it as is. One of those quarterbacks may be gone. It may be Watson. It may be Gabriel. Don't be surprised if you see Gabriel sent up for a 5th round, a 6th round pick to Atlanta. Okay, since Kevin loved him so much, Kevin would trade for him. And so that's a good meeting. I'm willing to give Todd Monken a chance, and this is what I'm saying to Cleveland fans: give him an opportunity. We can't do any worse. We just let go of worse. Worse is in Atlanta. So at least this will be an upgrade offensively. Okay. Now, where could a problem lie? A problem could lie at the fact that Jim Schwartz is really, really angry, y'all. Jim Schwartz, from all reports, was when he was told that he was not going to be the head coach, he stormed out of Berea, and he said that he was not coming back to the Cleveland Browns. He was very, very angry at the fact that they did not make him head coach. I'm just going by reports, so I'm going to give you my opinion based off the reports that I got. Does he have a right to be angry? Yes, he does. He has a right to be angry at the fact that he was looked over by the Cleveland Browns, being in the position that he was in that room. Okay, I understand his frustration, him going through the interview process. We don't know behind the scenes what the organization told him. So we got to be careful in what we say, because we don't know what the organization promised him. We're talking about the Cleveland Browns, y'all. We don't know what they said to him. We don't know if they said to Jim, hey, if we pass you up, will you still hang out? We don't know that. We're assuming that. Okay, by reports, we're assuming that, but we don't know what the Browns told him. That'll be found out later on down the line. Okay. However, from what they're saying, the way he stormed out of there, it was completely unprofessional if it went that way. It's unprofessional. This is a business. At the end of the day, it's a business. I know it's a pro sport, but it's a business. Okay. And I know Schwartz had an issue with the fact that of Monken and them being around the same age. I get that, but you still have to show a level of professionalism. Okay. There are many jobs that people apply for that they don't get. Is there disappointment? Absolutely. Okay. But to have a full-blown quote unquote temper tantrum, no, come on, man. Come on. Now, he has been pitted to be interviewed by the 49ers for their defensive coordinator position. I heard some rumblings that Baltimore is looking at Jim Schwartz, okay, which would keep him in the AFC. I think Jim Schwartz is a tremendous defensive coordinator. I really think he is. And do I think the Browns mishandled it? Yes, I think they did. Do I think that Jim Schwartz should have been the head coach of this team? I wanted Jim Schwartz, but we got Todd Monken. We have to deal with what we have. Okay? That's what it is. And so I'm going to put my support to Todd Monken until he gives me a reason not to. All I want is for the Cleveland Browns to win. I want them to win. I want them to compete. I want them to contend. And I want the people put in place that's going to make that happen. Okay? So, yes, Jim Schwartz is angry. Have every right to be, but you still got to remain a professional. Okay? And on top of that, it's not one of the subjects, but I'm going to throw this in here. I heard that Myles Garrett was not very happy at the fact that Jim Schwartz did not get the position. And that he went to social media and he let it be known through a meme or something of that nature, his displeasure of him not being named the head coach. So let me give y'all my humble opinion on that. Who cares how he feels? And I'm being very honest. You got $40 million to change your feelings. No one cares how you feel. Okay? You had an opportunity to get out of Cleveland. You didn't do it. You took the money. You made the bed. Now you lie in it. Okay? So if Jim Schwartz is not your defensive coordinator, wow, sucks. But suck it up and put your pants on the same way you do every day and go to work, Cupcake. Ain't nobody trying to hear all that. Okay? Because at the end of the day, no one really cares how Myles Garrett feels, except Myles Garrett. You're going to suit up for whatever defensive coordinator you're going to get next year. You're going to put your helmet on, and you're going to go out there and try to break more records. Now, on the sympathetic side of it, I understand his feelings. He's had the most successful season in his career under Jim Schwartz. He has had the most successful career numbers under Jim Schwartz. So I get it. But at the end of the day, it is a business. People come and go and get fired all the time. Okay? So no one cares what Myles Garrett thinks. L Train, he says, is there a world where Deshaun Watson gets back to being even close to what he was under this new system? So to answer that question, I think he can, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be in Cleveland. I think Deshaun Watson needs a fresh start. I really do. Now, is he going to be on the roster in Cleveland? Yes, he's going to be on the roster in Cleveland. Could he have an opportunity to play? He could. Right now, to me, Shedeur is QB1. Not based off the film I just showed, not based off his meeting with Todd Monken, but based off the fact that they're not going to get a high draft pick in terms of, and they're not going to get a quarterback at 6. There's no quarterback that's worth drafting at number 6. So they're going to get him at 6. So if they get a quarterback, it's going to be down the line. So he has what he has. But I just believe for Deshaun Watson to get back to what Deshaun Watson once was, it can't be in Cleveland. It just can't be in Cleveland. There's the captain. I'm going to speak to Myles' reaction tomorrow on our show. As a leader on this team, shame on him and his reaction. I say trade Myles. He said trade Myles behind as I would want him in. Okay, I wouldn't want him in my locker room. Okay, Cap, hold on, Cap. Oh, hold on, Cap. Cool your jets a little bit, Cap. All right, I'm not gonna trade Myles Garrett. Cool, yeah. I mean, he did just break the all-time season sack record. He's gonna be defensive player of the year. I understand, okay, but I'm not gonna trade him. He's just gonna play. I'm gonna put the pieces around him to be successful. Okay, we know that Myles Garrett is not a leader. We know that. We've already established that he's not a leader, but that dude can play. Okay. And like I said, he just signed a contract. There are 40 million reasons why Myles Garrett is going to be at training camp and Myles Garrett is going to be on the field. Okay. Now, the hire of defensive coordinator for the Browns is going to be big. So depending on, they got to get somebody who has a similar system to Jim Schwartz. I believe if you get a DC that has a similar system to what Jim ran, Myles will be fine. But that's why I think Brian Flores was not brought in, because Brian Flores runs a 3-4, and Myles Garrett is not going to run a 3-4. Okay, so I'm not, I'm not going to trade. I'm not going to trade Myles Garrett. Slow down there, Cap. Slow down, Cap. I got you, but you got to. That's the captain. Listen. While my guys are on here, I want to let you guys know, if you have not subscribed to 3 the Hard Way, that is the sports podcast that me, my man L Train, and the captain Terrence Austin, that's what we do. So if you have not subscribed to 3 the Hard Way, I want you to go to YouTube. I want you to type in 3 the Hard Way Sports Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share, because we for all the smoke. That's what we do. All right. We talk Cleveland sports. We'll talk some national sports as well, but we mainly 3 Cleveland boys talking Cleveland sports, having a good time doing it. So when you done here in the locker room, if you haven't subscribed to the locker room, I don't know why you're taking so long. Go ahead and subscribe to the locker room, and then go over to 3 the Hard Way Sports Podcast. All right. All right. There we go. So finally here, we're gonna get into this draft. Hopefully my video works correctly. We're going to talk about Spencer Fano, who is a tackle for Utah, and Zachariah Branch, who is a wide receiver for USC. We're going to talk about the draft, and then I'll come back. We're going to talk a little bit about Shedeur Sanders being a Pro Bowler. Yes, we're going to talk about Shedeur being a Pro Bowler. Get out of here. All right, so let's talk about Spencer Fano, who is a tackle for Utah. We're going to do some film breakdown here on Spencer Fano right here on the locker room. Hopefully my video will work. There we go. Let's do this. And this is from the NFL Trading Room. Shout out. All right. I was going to give credit where credit is due. Here we go. Spencer Fano.
So we're going to start. I mean, this is on play number 1. And I love watching anytime there's a Utah or a BYU prospect. I love watching when they play each other. One of the most underrated rivalries in the sport, the Holy War. Just some absolute dogs in this game every single season. But right here, we're opening up with a little outside zone to the right. So you've got Spencer Fano over here at right tackle. BYU's in a kind of 3 down front with this edge rusher hanging right here, since they've got the strong side to the left with the 2 tight end set. You're going to see 11 kind of shoot up the field right here, and just watch how Spencer Fano just displaces him. So, of course, you bring the motion. He's able to reach, get the initial block, and then just finish late in the play. BYU does a good job of stepping up and filling that gap. Nice job by 17 there, but great job by Spencer Fano taking his outside step and getting the first thing he sees on that outside zone concept. And here we've got another zone run. BYU's now in the forefront. So you're going to see Spencer Fano able to work down to that defensive tackle and drive 11 off the screen once again. 11's having a rough day so far against Spencer Fano. Just look at how he explodes out of his step. Look how far he is off the ball by this point. 11's not even out of his athletic stance yet. Spencer Fano was able to get a shot on 93, help his right guard, and then just take 11 off the screen. You just love the tenacity that Fano plays with. Okay, right here, you can see Spencer Fano right over here, once again at right tackle. I'm going up against BYU's Tyler Beatty, who was a draftable prospect in this past draft, the 2025 draft. And here you kind of see the first glimpse of what I'm talking about in pass protection. So again, they're in a 3-3-5 right here, and you see Spencer Fano mirror perfectly, matches hands with Beatty, even hand fights with him a little bit there. But I think, if I remember correctly, Tyler Beatty was came in with some arm length, and Spencer Fano was able to handle him pretty effectively here. Beatty was a guy that rushed with a lot.
All right. So there you have Spencer Fano. Now, here's my thing with Fano, and when I watch film on him a little bit, one of the things that I'm about feet. I'm about good footwork. Okay. I'm about where your hand placement is. And once again, shout out to the NFL trading room. And so I want to make sure that, like I said, Spencer Fano is from Utah. He played at Utah. And I just, when I'm looking at him coming off the football, even at number 11, when he came off the football, I always look at pad level. And definitely at tackle, I look at a tackle's pad level. And in just those few clips, I didn't like his pad level. Yes, he's a bigger guy, but his pad level was very high. We're looking at how he comes into the NFL and being able to drive block, being able to run block, okay? Looking at his feet, his kick step in terms of his pass protection. Is his hands too low? Is his hands too high? I'm giving y'all some inside tips here, people. This is what you need to know when you're sitting up and you're watching, offensive linemen. You want to watch and see, do they have good footwork? These are larger guys, but do they have good footwork? Do they move their hands? Are their hands chopping? Do they match the hands of the lineman that's coming at them? Do they kick step to where you can't run by them? Okay. Are they aggressive in terms of run blocking? Are they a road grader in terms of moving people? I mean, you looked at those two clips, and although those clips were impressive, he's impressive. There's still things that I believe that Spencer Fano has to work on when he comes to the NFL. Now, Coach Young has always been a proponent. I do not want the Browns to draft a lineman at number 6. I don't think there's a lineman in the draft right now that's worth the number 6 pick. The Browns have the 6th and the 24th pick. I don't think that there is a lineman that's worth the number 6 pick. I know they're talking about the lineman out of Miami. I think we will overdraft if we grab a lineman with the number 6 pick. I think it's an absolute reach. And although the Browns need to solidify their offensive line, I said this before, I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Berry trades down. Okay. And I know people want, you have Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver out of ASU. We got my Buckeye, that's coming out. And so I look at it as Carnell Tate. He slipped my mind. Carnell Tate coming out of Ohio State. But I believe that you could get good wide receivers later in the draft. Now, if they did draft Carnell Tate or they did draft Jordan Tyson, I would not have a problem with that. But I would not draft an offensive lineman at number 6. I just would not do it if I were the Browns, because I don't think there are enough out here to do that. Okay. So next up is Zachariah Branch. And we're gonna look at Zachariah Branch here. He is a wide receiver out of USC. And let's take a look. Shout out to Daft on Draft. And let's take a look.
Final game of the playoffs. And if I need to see more targets, I'm going to pull up the Florida game as well, because he was targeted 10 times in that game. So we'll do that. But let's roll in here. So first off, what I want to point out here, in 12 personnel, Georgia opens up in 12 personnel. He is not one of their 2 wide receivers on the field. So he's not a Z. He's not an X for them right here. Just worth mentioning. All right. Still in 12 personnel here with Delp and Lucky as the 2 targets here. Not on the field. So in 2 wide receiver sets, we don't see Zachariah Branch. We don't see him. Again, 12 personnel here. Lucky, Delp. They've got Lucky in the slot. Okay, there he is. Again, coming in motion across the formation. And running a vertical. I'm watching here down the field if it's overwhelming PI or if he's just struggling to play through any sort of hand fighting. And it looks like the latter to me from that angle. I mean, it's a bad ball. I think that ball's into the white, well into the white. He's kind of getting redirected a little bit. Again, out of the backfield here, behind the line of scrimmage on this target. Doesn't really break a tackle. Doesn't really work through contact. So again, anybody comping this guy to Deebo Samuel is out of their goddamn mind. Just throwing that out right away. I'm not comping a 220-pound receiver to a guy that's at least 40 pounds lighter. We got him. Yep, he's in the slot here at the three-man side. That's that third receiver. All right, so he runs a route here, and it doesn't look very pretty. There's no head. There's no selling with the eyes. There's no subtle movements at the top of his routes, and then that thing is rounded coming out at the top of his break.
All right, so Zachariah Branch. This guy just absolutely buried him. But, you know, if you can get him down in the lower rounds, I think, you know, you could get a competent receiver. Now, my comp is not to Deebo Samuel, and I agree with him. My comp is not Deebo Samuel. When you look at Zachariah Branch's film, all of his film, I look at him more like an Isaiah Bond. He's a vertical guy, okay? Doesn't run great routes. He's got speed, though. I look at him as a return guy, but I also look at him as a slot, okay? We already have a vertical slot in Isaiah Bond, okay? Question here from L Train. I see you, KB. He says, in your opinion, what is the strongest position group in this year's draft? That is a great question. Right now, the strongest group that I have seen in my breakdown of the NFL draft is actually defense. It's actually defensive tackle. I don't think this is a strong draft of offensive linemen. I think you can get some quality, but I don't think it's a strong draft. I think when you take away Carnell Tate and you take away Jordan Tyson, and he slips my mind now, the young man out of USC, I think you have a drop-off in terms of wide receiver. And so I think you really have a good defensive line class. Here's the problem with the Browns. We already have a good defensive line. So there's nothing there defensively that we really need. I mean, unless you take the best athlete, you know, but I don't think the Browns need anything defensively. They need a defensive coordinator, but I don't think they need anything defensively. So that's the breakdown of Zachariah Branch. One really good one. Shout out to Daft on Draft. He really kind of went in on him, but I think he could be a return guy, and I also think he could be if he's coached, because it's all about coaching, you know. And when you see players that don't perform well, some of the time it's them, but a lot of time it's coaching. So I think if you get him with a good coaching staff, good wide receiver coach, that he could actually be good. But I think with the 6th pick, if you don't get Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson, I say you trade down. You just bag up picks and go rebuild your team. Okay. If there's some chance that you can get a Jordan Tyson or I want Jeremiah Smith, but not Jeremiah Smith, or Carnell Tate, then I would gamble the 6th pick on that. Okay. But I would not, if they're not able to get that wide receiver in the top part of the draft, I would definitely take the 6th pick and I would trade down. Okay. All right, guys. Listen, once again, if you have not subscribed to the Locker Room, I don't know what's taking y'all so long. Y'all should be able to go ahead and subscribe and like and comment when it comes to the Locker Room. Okay. I'm on here every Saturday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, just talking Cleveland sports, doing my thing. So go to YouTube, all right, and then type in The Locker Room with Coach Young or The Locker Room 34, and go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment, all right? And for me, I say this on 3 the Hard Way. You may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen, all right? Let's move on to the Cleveland Cavaliers, shall we? So, how many times I'm going to do that? But the Cavaliers, okay, they beat the Lakers the other day. LeBron came home, and they put an absolute B to A to them. And so they beat the Lakers pretty handily. Donovan Mitchell had a great game. Jalen Tyson had a great game. Evan Mobley is down again. And I understand. I mean, he has a calf strain. And unfortunately, in the NBA today, there have been a lot of Achilles tendon injuries, and they've been based off of calf strains. So they shut him down. Darius Garland is still down. Max Strus is at the local 7-Eleven. I don't know when Max Strus is going to play. I don't know if he's going to play anytime this year. Maybe I can get the captain on 3 the Hard Way to do an APB on him, because I think I saw him down there on Warrensville Center Road at the Mr. Heroes. I don't know where Max Strus is. Okay, so they did handily beat the Lakers. LeBron James had an absolutely awful game. He had I think it was 11 points. I think on 3 of 12 shooting. Bronny James was perfect. He was 3 of 3 from the field. You know, how many times are you gonna say Bronny James played better than his dad? And so he, even though it was garbage time, y'all, I'm just tripping. It was garbage time. But there were some comments that Jordan Tyson made during the broadcast. It was an ESPN broadcast, and he made comments about Donovan Mitchell. And the comments that he made, I don't have the video. The comments that he made was, he said, this is Donovan Mitchell's city. We want the fans to come in and cheer for Donovan Mitchell like they cheer for him. And the backlash that this young man got caught by saying that, to me, was utterly ridiculous. To the fact at the later press conference, he sat up and he apologized if he offended anybody. First of all, I'm going to say this, and this is not my coach's rant. I got a coach's rant coming, okay? But this is not my coach's rant. But if you want to take it as such, okay, fine. Here's my thing. He was giving a mentor his flowers. He was letting him know how much he appreciated Donovan Mitchell, because I'm going to be perfectly honest with all of y'all. Without Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Tyson would not be Jalen Tyson right now. And Jalen Tyson is about to make a lot of money because of Donovan Mitchell, period. So he's giving a mentor, someone who he looks up to, someone who has helped him get to a level where people are mentioning him and people are putting scouting reports against him, and he's giving him his flowers. He's giving him his credit. Everybody think, oh, he was just poo-pooing on LeBron. No, he wasn't. He wasn't poo-pooing on LeBron, but he was giving flowers to the guy. He's in the moment. He's talking about right now. Okay? And then I looked, and I saw Kevin Love came out with a statement, and I saw Kyrie Irving came out with a statement. Listen, I understand the LeBron nation, okay? You people talk about the Shadurians and Shadur Sanders. Let's talk about the LeBronians, the LeBrons. Let's talk about that nation, okay? Where you can't say nothing against the king or say nothing that they may deem derogatory against the king without everybody, all his little minions coming out. Okay. Now listen, Cleveland born, Cleveland bred. I'll be one till I'm Cleveland dead. I want y'all to understand something. I have nothing but appreciation for LeBron James. and what he did for the city of Cleveland in 2016. I have nothing against what he has done. I have nothing but respect for Kyrie Irving, nothing but respect for Kevin Love, Iman Shumpert. I have nothing but love for Matthew Dellavedova. I have nothing but love for Channing Frye and Richard Jefferson, okay, and J.R. Smith, okay? Why am I saying all these names? I'm saying all these names because LeBron James wasn't the only one to do this. Now, he was a catalyst, but he wasn't the only one. And I'm not dismissing the 2016 championship, 55 years. I'm not. But I'm always saying this. I'm like Janet Jackson, y'all. What have you done for me lately? And Jalen Tyson was talking about right now how much he admires Donovan Mitchell. And for you guys to come out and try to dog this young man for giving his mentor flowers. Let's remind folks, shall we? Not of the Kevin Love that you see right now, the Dominion and the quiet Kevin Love. Let's talk about Kevin Love when he was in Minnesota. Let's talk about that Kevin Love, okay? He who was out seeing cast the first stone. Let's talk about that Kevin Love before he was traded to Cleveland. Not the one that y'all celebrate now, okay? Because that's what I didn't like his comments, okay? Kyrie was a little bit more diplomatic, so I ain't going to really go in on him, but Kyrie had some issues too after he left Cleveland, okay? He wanted to be the man, went to Boston, was the man, flamed out, okay? But I'm not going to pile on Kyrie Irving, okay? I'm not piling on these guys, but I'm saying you got a young, excited NBA player who's giving a mentor who's about to put money in his pocket flowers. Y'all sit down and shut up. I need all the LeBronians to sit down and shut up, okay? Because that he wasn't trying to disrespect LeBron. LeBron gonna have a statue outside of the arena in the next couple of years, okay? So get off Jalen Tyson's back, because he was just doing something that most young people don't do today, which is giving someone else credit. All right? Now, moving on. Is Lonzo Ball and Hunter on the trading block? Because the trade deadline is coming. And then, of course, everyone's talking about, Giannis being traded, Ja Morant being traded. But when we talk about Cavaliers that possibly can be traded, you got DeAndre Hunter and you got Lonzo Ball, who could possibly be traded. Now, the Lonzo Ball trade, I don't know who they would trade for Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball can't hit the broadside of a barn right now, y'all. And so that's why. And then they brought him here for defensive purposes and him throwing assists. Excuse me. And he's done that. But Lonzo Ball can't hit a shot. And then by him not being able to hit a shot, he really doesn't play defense. If you really look at it, Lonzo Ball really isn't playing that stellar defense, okay? And then when you talk about DeAndre Hunter, he slumped a little bit. And then when DeAndre Hunter slumped, he stopped playing defense, okay? So right now, from what I hear, is Rui Hachimura and there's the young kid. I wrote him down. Give me a second here. It was Hachimura and Dalton Knecht. Okay, Dalton Knecht. So the what they're talking about is trading DeAndre Hunter for Dalton Knecht and Rui Hachimura, and possibly a pick. And I'm telling y'all right now, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even blink. If I'm Kobe Altman, I would not even blink. I'm going on ahead and I'm making that trade. Okay. What we got here? The captain chimes in. He says, I'm disappointed in Lonzo Ball and Hunter at this point, so we can upgrade, do so. Yeah, absolutely. Then he said here, what'd he say? He said also spot on Tyson. Yeah. And that's exactly what he was doing. You know, he's sticking up for his mentor. All right. So if I have a chance to trade DeAndre Hunter and Lonzo Ball, and from a salary cap standpoint, Lonzo Ball, if you trade Lonzo Ball, it actually saves, I think, about $50 million, even though he has a $10 million contract. It saves the Cavaliers a lot of money. And right now, the Cavaliers need to get up under the luxury tax. They need to get up under it because all these max deals and for minimum play is ridiculous. Okay, but that's another subject in itself. Okay, so I think Lonzo Ball will be traded. I think DeAndre Hunter will be traded. You got to shake this Cavs team up. Now, does that mean are they back? I think they are. Now, yeah, they played Phoenix last night and got the doors blown off of them. Donovan Mitchell did not have a great game. Jalen Tyson did not have a great game. But I don't blame that game on actually the players. This is the first time I'm going to blame a game on the coach. I think Kenny Atkinson did a horrible job in terms of his rotations. It's just basic bottom line. I think he did a horrible job in terms of rotation. He's not giving Naquan Tomlin enough time. I just think he's not giving these young kids enough time because he wants to get these old vets back in. I think he took Jared Allen off the floor too soon. He didn't give Jared Allen enough time because there was nothing that could guard Jared Allen on Phoenix's team. Nothing. Okay. Jared Allen was having a game, and then Kenny Atkinson pulled him off. Kenny Atkinson's rotations, I will question. Okay. You put Lonzo Ball out there. Every time Lonzo Ball shoots, my stomach starts to hurt. I just get tired of watching Lonzo Ball shoot. He cannot shoot. He's terrible. Bryant shoots a better shot, and he's a center, and he shoots a better shot than Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball cannot shoot. Look at me, y'all. Lonzo Ball cannot shoot. I don't know what happened to him from high school and college till he got to this point, but Lonzo Ball cannot shoot. So if you play Lonzo Ball in the playoffs, teams are going to sag off of him, period. Okay? Oh, that's coming. It's coming, T. Just wait. It's coming. All right. So I do think the Cavs are back. I think the fact of they take this L in Phoenix, I don't think is a bad thing. I think it just keeps them chugging along. Their number, I think they're 5th or 4th in the Eastern Conference. They're right where they're ready to attack after the All-Star break. And trust and believe, I said this, that the Cavaliers would go on a run after the All-Star break. It's going to happen. It's coming. All right. Switching gears to the NFL. So we had the AFC-NFC championship game, New England versus Denver and Seattle versus the Rams. And so New England beat Denver and Seattle beat the Rams. The game, the Patriots versus Denver, was a tale of two halves. First half, Denver was hanging in the game. It was real clear, there was no snow. Then the second half, it was a blizzard, and it was just about getting points. There was field goal misses all over the place. To a certain extent, I don't understand why Denver did not go for it a lot of times on fourth down instead of kicking it because the wind and the snow, it was bad. New England came back, and New England has won. They won the game. New England is going to the Super Bowl, and I'm sick. And the reason I'm sick is because I'm sick and tired of seeing the New England Patriots. I just am, but they earned it. Drake May, I think, is an MVP candidate, and I think New England, has done a great job. Mike Vrabel has done an absolutely great job in terms of turning that team around after 1 year. Okay, did you hear what I said? He turned the same team around in 1 year. Hey, Browns fans, wasn't Mike Vrabel a coach in Cleveland last year? Okay, just food for thought. All right, and then in Seattle, very good game between Seattle and the Rams. I would have. It was a pick'em game. I actually picked the Rams, and so Seattle really surprised me. So I think it's going to be a really good Super Bowl. I mean, New England and Seattle at it again. And I'm not going to give my predictions right now. I may do it in another week or so. I'll give you my prediction. because I'm still trying to break some things down. I love what I saw out of New England, and I love what I saw out of Seattle. So I think it's going to be a really good game. All right. Now, real quick, and let me put this on here because I want y'all to know I already had this here. T. Austin said, Coach, give your take on Coach Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Bill Belichick, for those that do not know, was snubbed to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay. And I think it's an absolute joke. All right. I think it's a joke for the committee who voted against him not being in the Hall of Fame. I think it was personal because people did not like him. And when it comes to the Hall of Fame, it should not be personal. Okay. Because there are some questionable characters who have been elected and who are Hall of Famers. And Bill Belichick's resume has solidified him as one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. And I go as far as saying this. Those who voted against Bill Belichick becoming a Hall of Famer should have their vote removed. They should not be allowed to vote anymore because it is obvious that it is personal. It is obvious. You voted Jimmy Johnson in, Eric Coryell, okay, Hall of Famer. You've got a bunch of Hall of Fame coaches, Chuck Noll, so on and so forth. And Bill Belichick smokes all of them. And you mean to tell me that he is not a Hall of Famer? I need for those that did not vote for him to explain their stance. And that's where it's going to get, that's where it won't happen. You see, it's kind of like them keyboard thugs. They say what they want to say, but you never get a chance to see them. You need to be able to, those that did not vote Bill Belichick in as a Hall of Famer needs to explain themselves. And it should be investigated. And possibly, like I said, those people who voted for the Hall of Fame, who voted for Bill Belichick or did not vote for Bill Belichick, voted against Belichick, they should have their Hall of Fame credential removed. They should not be allowed to vote for anybody else in the Hall of Fame because it is obvious that it was personal. Now, like I said, I know Bill Belichick wasn't a great guy. There's been a lot of reports that Bill Belichick wasn't a great dude. Okay? You got to understand, he's out of the Bill Parcells tree. Bill Parcells ain't a great dude. But you cannot take away the fact that the Super Bowls that he's won, the AFC championships that he's won consecutively, it gives him the right to be in the Hall of Fame. And even if they come back next year and vote him in the Hall of Fame, if I'm Bill Belichick, I wouldn't even go. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't attend. I wouldn't attend. Because this here is nothing but a vendetta from people who don't like Bill Belichick. So I'm disgusted at the fact that it's so obvious that it was politics. It's politics. And there's politics in all types of major sports. But that was so egregious. That was egregious. And so, yes, I will state it again. Those that had a vote that voted against Bill Belichick should be able to either A, have their credential as voting for the Hall of Fame removed, or B, stand in front of a camera and explain why you did not vote Bill Belichick as a Hall of Famer. Okay? All right, one last break before I get into my coach's rant. Listen, I thank y'all for joining me today. I thank each and every one of you for joining me. Like I said, if you have not subscribed to The Locker Room, please do so. Please subscribe to The Locker Room. I have a good time on here. I spend a lot of time doing this. I enjoy talking sports. I enjoy talking Cleveland sports. I get a kick out of it. It's just so much fun for me, okay? So please just go to The Locker Room 34. Subscribe, like, comment, share. I'm trying to build up the fan base here, y'all. This is exactly what I'm trying to do. And I do appreciate all you guys' support. All right, for the last few minutes, I'm going into my coach's rant, y'all. And this is specifically, it was brought up on 3 the Hard Way. My brother, Lionel Jones, L Train, the Cap, T. Austin. You know, we talked about it a little bit, but I said that I was going to address it on the locker room, and this is how I'm going to address it. There have been rumors and innuendos that LeBron James, after this year in LA, will have his farewell tour in Cleveland. And I've been asked, I've had people other than my brothers ask me, other people have asked me, how do I feel about LeBron James coming back home for his farewell tour? And do I want LeBron James back home in Cleveland? So here we go. I will take LeBron James back in Cleveland on my dime. And what I mean by that, I'm speaking as the Cavaliers. I'm going to bring LeBron James back home on my dime. LeBron James is far away from the $40 and $50 million a year. That's not happening. If LeBron James wants to come home, he's going to come home on a vet minimum. He's going to sign a veteran's minimum, and I will bring him home. Okay? Now, I know there are folks out here that will say you crying, you screaming blasphemy. I can hear Stephen A. Smith, blasphemy. No, it's not. Although LeBron James is averaging 22 points a game, okay? His lowest, I think lowest in his career. And I get it. He's 41 going on 42 years old, okay? And can he still impact the game? Yes, in spurts. He can still impact the game. If you want LeBron James to carry your ball club, Father Time is kicking him in his patootie right now. Okay? He can't carry a team anymore. He doesn't have that capability of carrying a team anymore. Okay? And there's no disrespect to LeBron James. I've watched that young man since he was 16 years old. There's no disrespect to LeBron James. He's done so much in the NBA. But Charles Barkley said this. You can't run away from Father Time. And I know he says he's trying to win every day against Father Time. Eventually, Father Time is going to win. And right now, Father Time is creeping. I don't care how much money you spend on your body. Father Time is creeping. It's coming. So would I like LeBron James back in Cleveland? Sure. But I'm not tearing down my organization for LeBron James. He's going to come back under my terms, which is a veteran's minimum. Okay? I'll let the coaches decide how you want to do him because I don't think you disrespect LeBron James by bringing him off the bench. I think that's disrespectful. I think, now if LeBron James, says, hey, look, you got these young guns, let me come off, then fine. But I don't think, you bring LeBron James off the bench. I do think his presence will make Evan Mobley better. I think his presence will make Darius Garland better. I think his presence would just make the overall team better. But in terms of him carrying, I don't think that's it. I think he would allow Darius and Donovan and Evan and Jalen cover and take that heavy load. I think when you bring a LeBron James back to Cleveland, you bring him back for the playoffs because he's an absolute basketball savant when it comes to dissecting teams and tearing them apart during the playoffs. But in terms of bringing him back, making him a franchise offer and possibly breaking the team down to bring him, I'm not doing all that. I'm not. I will not do all that. If he can't take the league minimum, if he can't take the veterans minimum, maybe with a little bit on top of it, okay, I might even offer him a piece of ownership after he retires. If I'm Dan Gilbert, maybe I do that. But in the meanwhile, if he wants to come back on different terms, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to destroy this organization again. And let me say this, and I want people to understand, I'm talking for the Cavaliers, but think about Dan Gilbert's mindset. Dan Gilbert's mindset is, I want to win a championship without him. I won one with him. But what solidifies Dan Gilbert's legacy is winning one without him. So from Dan Gilbert's perspective, if you bring LeBron James back, what does that say? It says you can't win without him. That's what LeBron wants him to think. So don't be surprised if Dan Gilbert is the one that says, no, I'm not doing that. I'm good. Okay. But for me, Coach Young, do I want LeBron James back? Absolutely. But it's going to be on my dime. And that is my coach's rant. Listen, y'all, I appreciate y'all. It's my time. I got to get out of here. I thank y'all for hanging out with me. Listen, like I said, subscribe to The Locker Room 34. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your mama and your cousins and your uncles, and share with all of them. Have them come on in. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Love y'all. Thank y'all for so much for rocking with me. Let's go ahead and build this thing and make this thing a Locker Room nation. Let's do that, all right? And like I always say, love on somebody. Tell somebody that you love them. Don't always assume that they know. I will see you guys